Hello and welcome to the second series of Two Mums Talking After Road Death. I'm here with Yvonne.
Hello.
Hello, Yvonne. And today, for this series, actually, we're doing something slightly different because last series it was just me and Yvonne talking.
Mm-hmm.
And this series, we're trying to broaden that out and bring in other people, all the many people that are affected, and have a conversation about that. So that includes members of our families, friends of our Jack and Anisha, legal counsel, counsellors, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So we'll have a kind of broader conversation about the impact and what can be done to help. So today we have Yvonne's sister Jane with us.
Hello.
Hi Jane.
Hello.
Hi, Jane.
And I'm going to pass over to Yvonne to do the intros, and then we'll take it from there.
So, Jane, I suppose the first question that we want to ask is, talk us through your initial thoughts and feelings when you had that awful call from us that Jack had been killed.
God.
How did you feel?
I think the initial thing was total shock, because I remember seeing your face come up on the phone, and I remember, because we always used to answer and like be silly to each other and whatever, and I'm so glad at that point that I didn't, because you know how we would sometimes answer the phone and go, all right, and be like really silly with it. But I just kind of stopped what I was watching on TV and just kind of like picked up the phone. And then I just remember when you I think you took a while and you were really upset, and I thought it was somebody else in the family. It just never even occurred to me, because you hadn't said what had happened. I thought something had happened to somebody else. And then I think when you said it, I think you almost as if you go into, like, your brain takes you into a surreal... I don't know whether it's a protection that your brain does, but you almost go into kind of as if you're dreaming.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You kind of go into, like... It's very difficult to explain. It's almost like suddenly I was kind of lifted out into this weird sort of...
Yes, it's like you separate from yourself.
It's like it's not, you're not in the room anymore. You're like in this weird, like you're dreaming. Literally, like, the only way I can describe it is like you're suddenly dreaming. And I think it's almost like your brain then shuts down a lot of your other emotions. And so you're kind of in this weird sort of state.
So was it clear what I had said, or did it take a while for you to process it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's almost like your brain shuts down. I've thought about this a lot since. And I just remember thinking, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I remember thinking, what do I do? And just the other half's going, this is not real, this is not real, this is not real. And then I think, obviously I had to tell my family. And I remember Curtis was just, oh my God. And we'd been having a lot of trouble with him, and he'd been like really kind of...
Is that your son?
Thinking it's almost like he turned back into a child. He just kind of, he was about, I think, what was he, maybe 18, 17? 17, must have been 7. No, he might have been younger than that, actually. He might have been 16.
Yeah.
And, no, it's, I think 17. Anyway, he'd been quite kind of like throwing his weight around a little bit and trying to be the big person. And he suddenly turned back into a child, because he stayed in our room that night on a mattress next to our bed. I think it's just, you just feel that whole sense of the bottom coming out of your world. And I just remember it was literally as if, I suppose, like the floor had just disappeared, and you're falling. And you just don't know where to catch a hold of anything. And so your mind's just kind of... And I just kept thinking, what do I do? Because I'm so far away as well. It's not like I could just run round.
Yeah, because Jane lives in Glasgow.
Yeah.
I couldn't just... And I think that the whole thing that just kept going through my mind is, what do I do? What do I do? It's so silly. And...
Because then you came down, didn't you? All of you came down to visit.
Yeah. So really good, actually. And, you know, what we decided was we went out to my son in St Andrews first, because I thought I'd better tell him in person, because he was very close to Jack.
And that's Callum. Callum's your eldest, isn't he?
Yeah. So, and they were supposed to be, and I think that's the thing that I find really hard. They were supposed to be doing lecture.
Yeah, because Jack was due to go to university on the Friday, and Callum had already started, and they'd already had conversations about the two of them being at uni and experiencing it at the same time. Yeah. And that's hard.
And I think that, you know, Callum had started he'd moved there on the end of August, and I just remember doing the video and talking to Yvonne on FaceTime, and we were all so excited. And then I remember saying, oh, Jack's turn next. And I said, you make sure you send me a video of his place. And so you've got all this expectation of the future that you've got ahead for you. And everything was like super happy and really exciting time of our lives. And then just bottom falls out of it. And so I thought I'd better go and tell him in person. So we thought we'll tell him first, and then we'll go down the next day. So that's what we did. The three of us, we left Callum. We thought he could come down maybe on his own later on, and we just went down. And I just kept feeling for Yvonne the whole time, thinking, oh my God, how could this happen to Yvonne and Simon and their family? And then it's difficult, because with any other grief, any other member, like when it's a parent or whatever, you can share that. You can share how bad you feel, how awful you feel.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that. And so I couldn't. I mean, I'm breaking down now, but I thought I had to try and be really strong, and I couldn't indulge my own grief. I really felt that I can't indulge my own grief. I have to think of Yvonne and Simon and Nadia, and not think of how I feel. And that's so hard when it's something so tragic. And because I've got children the same age, you feel it so viscerally, and
I definitely found that, like my mum, I had to ring my mum, and she'd just come back from seeing my brother, and I just could hardly get the words out. And I still feel it now, that she is so upset. I know she's upset because she was very close to Anisha, and I know she feels that she should be talking to me about it, but I'm trying to protect her in a way, because I know that she's going to get so upset, because it's just the dynamics are really hard. It's really hard.
It feels really selfish. I can't. Yvonne was always the one that Yvonne's really strong. She's much stronger than me.
Oh, tell me about that.
Oh, you are. You know, even through my mum's passing, mum's death, Yvonne was the one who seemed to be able to bear it. Not bear it, that's probably the wrong way. She was able to, she didn't crumble into a mess like I did. And so she was always the one that I would phone up whenever I had my little, now seems very petty problems. And I just kind of feel I was a bit of a fish out of water, kind of all of a sudden. Not that I was always there for Yvonne, but she was the one that I would phone up and moan to. and talk about what's going on in my life, and blah, 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 and I'm really annoyed about this, and what am I going to do about that? And I feel like, well, I can't do that. I mean, and it's like almost like a role reversal in some ways.
Yeah.
In some ways. And I think.
So do you think it's like do you think you're different from others? Because is it like do you think it's a natural instinct that you then took over and you changed the way that you were, in the fact that you felt the need to support me rather than, you know, the other way round. Did you think that was like a natural thing, or was it something that you heard about or you read about, or the shock of it probably? The shock of it probably.
No, I think it is definitely, for me, it feels like the right thing to do. Indulging myself and how I feel and my petty problems seems ridiculous. And I mean, like I say, I feel it so viscerally, if that's the right word, that, because I think you and I are quite connected.
Yeah, definitely. We've always been close, and we're close in age. I feel
that if I can't make you happy or make you not be so upset, then I'm not going to be happy. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't, when you're upset, I'm upset.
Yeah, I know.
And I just feel my happiness is really connected to yours, even more so than it ever was now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like there's like this kind of string there and that's why I kind of like, it really does affect me when you're all really upset. It really affects me quite a lot. And I can really feel it. I mean, especially since I kind of, you know, can't imagine what it would be like if it, you know, for me. You know, especially since you're so much stronger than me, and I just think, I don't know if I can be that strong. I just don't know.
Do you feel, yeah, because like other members so everybody reacts in very different ways, I think.
Yeah.
You seem to have, like, from what Yvonne's said, you know, like, you maintain, like, you talk about Jack, you talk, you know, you do all of those kind of things, whereas I think a lot of family members, they find it really difficult, and they kind of almost like avoid the subject, because either they think they're talking about, you know, the person is going to make you more upset or something, or they just don't know. They just don't know how to do it. And I've certainly found that. And but it's really good that you do, like, you're able to talk to each other about him. And
it has been amazing, because I tell you, going through what we're going through, Mandy, I know you feel the same. You need somebody that you can connect with that actually gets it, that really understands the pain that you're going through. And, you know, obviously we're doing this across teams. I can see Jane, I can see my sister, and she's so upset, and it's genuine. And sometimes we need that, because we need people around us that actually can even have a tiny bit of what we're going through. And that, you know, helps us with the support. It helps me feel that actually I've got someone that I can talk to. I've got someone that I can phone up and really tell them how I'm feeling, and they can almost acknowledge it, and I can believe that they get it. Because I know, Jane, we've spoken about, you know, members of the family, and Gary, our brother, he's our eldest brother, and I know his feelings come from a good place. He's a good person. He has got a heart. But I do find it quite hard that he doesn't seem to acknowledge, or it makes him feel awkward talking about that Jack's no longer here, and that even that Jack has been killed. So why do you think that is, Jane? Why do you think that you're different from Gary?
Well, at the risk of sounding a little bit sexist, it could be because he's male, but there is probably that side to it. And they don't
openly talk like girls do they?
I don't think they feel it is well, that's probably not true. I think it's just they've got layers that can vary it that women probably don't have as much. I don't know, possibly. But I think, like, some people just are very good at compartmentalising their lives. And I think some people just would rather almost head in the sand, just continue with their life and just pretend like it's not happened, and just to keep themselves from feeling that it's impacted on their life. But I'm very much somebody who's always lived in reality. I'm not one of these people who, I can't live in a fake world. I can't. Everything has to be real, and I have to. What I'm feeling has to be real. So I can't lie to myself about the situation. So I just can't do that. I can't do that. Let's pretend nothing's happened.
Yeah.
I can't think like that. And I think that's kind of like a blessing and a curse, because it means that I feel things keenly, whether I like it or not. But I think it also means that I am very much in contact with my emotions and connected with my emotions. And I'd rather be like that, to be honest. I'd rather feel things that are real than have a good ability to just kind of like fake it. I don't know. And I just think that Gary's probably much better at doing that. He's probably much better at, finds it a lot easier, and he's more comfortable, perhaps, with just putting it in a box and locking it up, and then saying, I'm not going to look at that, I'm not going to open it up, I'm just going to continue with my life, and I will. And like you say, I think his heart's in the right place. I don't think it even crosses his mind that he's upsetting anyone by doing that. And I think that if he did think he was upsetting somebody by doing that, he'd probably try not to do it. I don't know. But I think that it possibly is more important that he focuses on his own life, I think, and his own kind of little bubble.
Do you think it's partly, there's like this whole, thing that maybe somebody might sort of, I don't want to say it's more of a male thing or whatever, but they want to fix something. So their thing is like a practical logic, how can we fix? But this is a thing that can't be fixed. So therefore, there's nothing we can do. Let's just get on with it. Just get on with life. Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the things that's so frustrating about it and so upsetting about it for everyone is, I think with every other kind of death in a family, you can say to people, you could probably genuinely try and help somebody by saying time's a healer, or you could maybe genuinely say to people, I don't know, try and think about the happy times. You could, and then that might help them.
Yeah.
But this is one situation where there's none of that.
And do you think it's just because
it's like
Jack and Anisha are children? Do you think it's because Jack and Anisha are children, or do you think it's to do with the suddenness of the?
Both.
Yeah.
I think it's the suddenness because we obviously, and I think the suddenness was also the reason why Mum's death was difficult, because you've still got plans.
Yeah.
You've still got future plans. It's not like with somebody sick for a long time, you start you don't make those plans. You're focused on the now. Whereas when somebody suddenly goes, you've still got the remnants of them everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's really tough. And then that future that you've been planning's gone. And I think especially when they're young, you've not seen them, what the story was going to be. You've not seen the story unfold. And I think you don't get that with parents or grandparents and things. You get it to an extent if they die young-ish, but it's still not the same as them dying before, like barely into their adulthood. I think you're just not getting to see what they've become. And I think if there's any grandchildren as well.
Yeah.
I do think that had there been grandchild, I think that might have, because you've got that little piece of them in that person, haven't you? And I think that probably goes a long way to healing.
Yeah.
But obviously that's also, that option's gone. And so I think that's the biggest tragedy of when they die very, very young, before they've had their story.
Do you have any kind of support yourself, or is there any, any things that you've read or anything that have you sort of tried to find any support, or you just like your friends or
it's like
anything
balance.
like that? Yeah.
How do you balance your grief as well as supporting me, Simon and Nadia?
I don't know. I'm not really one for independent kind of seeking of help. I think what really helps me is feeling like Yvonne's family are somewhat healing a bit. If I feel like they're healing a bit, that makes me feel better. That helps me deal with my grief, is seeing them dealing with theirs. So I think that's the biggest help for me.
Do you do like the anniversaries and stuff like that? Because they seem to come up relentlessly.
Yeah.
Special things that you do on the anniversary, or just like contact Yvonne and Simon. Or...
I think we just stay in touch, don't we? And I think we've always been down for Jack's birthday, or one of us anyway. I'm not a great one for marking the day.
That's and do you know what, we're both the same, Jane, because it was when Mum died so young. I didn't want to acknowledge the day that she died, and with Jack, I know it's different, and we go away every year, and we will do just the three of us, so that we can kind of, I think it's an escapism for us, so that we can be away from from work, because slightly work, I feel resentful at work in an awkward way, because Jack obviously died or was killed while I was at work. Obviously the house, because we'd not long moved, we made that decision quite early on that we wanted to kind of like be away, and but I know what you're saying with regards to the dates, because it's we acknowledge them because obviously it's Jack, but there's part of me that wishes that I didn't have to acknowledge them, because it's like another stab in the heart of the reality of what's happened. And that's what we found. I don't know about you, Jane, but as it's going on for me, and I know Mandy said the same, that it seems to be getting harder. There's peaks and troughs, and we're coming, like we'll be coming up for 4 years in September. And that to myself, I just find that quite a frightening concept, that it's the longer that we haven't had them.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna be without them more than we are.
I think that's what I was saying before, how it's different to say a parent or an older relative dying, even if it was sudden and tragic. You will get to a stage where you think, well, they now, like for example, Mum, she probably would have passed away by now anyway. And I know that sounds a bit harsh me saying that, but that's not the case. And so you kind of feel, well, they would have been older anyway and whatever. Whereas with a child, the longer it goes on, that's the longest you've not had them.
Yeah.
And so that's not ever going to heal. The time isn't a healer with that.
No.
Time's like torturer almost. It's there to torture you. That well, it's longer and longer and longer. And I kind of feel that with Jack as well, as I just kind of think about him. I'll try and remember his voice, because I forgot how my mum's voice. And I didn't want to forget Jack's, so I often remember him speaking to me, and I just kind of play it on a bit of a loop in my head, so I think I'm not forgetting his voice. But you have to keep those little tangent, and it's more important as the years go on, because whereas I think the whole kind of forgetting these little details about someone is what makes it a healer for when it's an older person, but it's what tortures you when it's a younger person. Because you don't want to be forgetting those little things.
No.
You want to have them clear as day in your mind, and you're kind of up against it really. You have to force yourself to kind of make sure that you're not forgetting those things. And I'll even do things like I'll look at his face and I'll go, right, okay, what would it be like now? Because I mean, I suppose it's a blessing and a curse that I've got children the same age, because I can look at my boys and think, okay, they're doing that now. What would he be doing now? And I try and mirror it.
Yeah.
I try and make a little, because he can't tell his story now. I try and make up a little story for him to go along with what Callum's doing. So then I'll think to myself, and I think it makes me feel a little bit better, because I try and almost pretend that it's real. I mean, I didn't obviously see Jack, that much, because I was up here. So I can almost trick myself into thinking that it's real. This kind of, I know I've just explained that I like to stay in reality, but I think there are times when I'm feeling really bad about it, and you just kind of get those times where you just think, why has this happened, and why did our life have to change so much, and then I think, what would we be doing if he was still alive? How would we? Because it does ripple affect everything.
Yeah.
It has such a ripple effect that it changes every single aspect of your life down to the tiniest detail. And so you kind of think, what would I be doing now? What would be different if this had not happened to him? And then it kind of makes you quite angry. Why did it have to happen? That tiny little adjustments of, I can obsess about the tiny little adjustments to that day that could have totally changed the outcome.
Yeah,
and I talk to myself with those a little bit. And I think this is the kind of process that goes through my mind. But then I think to myself, okay, let me just think, what's Callum doing? So what would he be doing? And I kind of make up a little story, and I might say, he might have got a chance to work abroad and do like a secondment over there and do some finance over in America, or maybe he would have changed course and done something completely different and totally took everybody by surprise. Because I look at how Callum's changed his mind, and he changed his views, and to the person he started at uni, and I just wonder what would Jack's story be?
Yeah.
I find that so frustrating, because he was just becoming his own person.
Yes.
He was just starting to become his own person, and I would chat to him about things, and I thought, it was like he was like a little bud that was just about to open.
Yeah, definitely. I remember my nephew actually saying, I was looking at pictures of Anisha on the wall, and he just said, something like, none of this is real. And I was like, that's how I feel. Yeah. None of this is real. That's the only way. Sometimes you can just keep going. I don't know about you, Yvonne.
Oh my
So
God,
I
exactly.
try and separate myself from, you have that kind of automated stuff that you do, work and stuff like that.
It's like a distraction, isn't it? Work, and you need the distraction to actually help you get up in the morning and help you kind of function and carry on every day. But but you do get, it's like Simon at the moment, he's so busy at work, and he says that he then often finds himself that he might have gone almost all day without thinking about Jack. And he said that it's that massive burst of reality that comes with the fact that he's been so busy and just cracking on with work.
And then you feel guilty as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he said. He said it's like torturous. He said because they're the feelings that he's never had before. That, those bouncing, balls of reality that come and hit you so hard. And but like we said at the beginning, having you saying the things that you're saying is just exactly what we're going through, and having you experience it and actually living how we're living, and be sad and still want to talk about Jack and be joyous and talk about his memories and all the things that he's done. I said, honestly, I can't tell you how important that really is, and how amazing you've been.
Yeah. Well, maybe...
I just wish I didn't have to be.
Yeah.
I just really would like, if I could just snap my fingers and everything go back to the way it was, I would do it with a heartbeat. You know, I just want everything to go back, because selfishly, I feel like I didn't just lose my nephew, I lost my sister as well.
Well, it's been a very emotional. This has been very emotional, but it's lovely to be able to talk about it. So thank you so much, Jane. It's been really good to speak, because I know that a lot of the time, you know, a lot of people, their family members can't speak to each other, and it's quite a lonely experience. All of this anyway. But being able to speak to, you know, other people who really understand it and loved, you know, our children as much, you know, not as much, but this, you know, who love them very much is really important. So that's the end of this episode. And next time we'll be talking to Simon and Gustavo, our partners, which is another big one, I think.
Yes,
big conversation. Thank
Again,
you.
Jane, thank you.
I hope my tears haven't spoilt it.
No,
Not at all.
Oh, love you, Jane.
Bye.
Love you too.
Bye.
Take care. Have a nice day. Bye.
you.